No, 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 no. Wait. Wait.
Yuki Tabata is in shambles because Geiji Akutami has found a way to create a more fraudulent new-gen antagonist than Lucifero. There must be a curse that comes along with the title King of the Devils, 7 Deadly Sins, Black Clover, and now JJK, the most insane 3 for 3. Now, at first I thought the Fraud Kuna jokes were cringe and didn't make much sense, an antagonist using underhanded tactics and taking control of another's body or abilities to gain the upper hand against the heroes. There's like 500 series I can name with a similar plotline. Furthermore, JJK has never been a series where concepts such as honor are held to a high standard. There are multiple occurrences of the main character Yuji Tottori having his homies on speed dial to help him jump the antagonist of said arc, and Yuji has never received fraud allegations for these actions. So I decided to reread the currently released chapters of the Gojo vs Sukuna fight while simultaneously taking a deep dive into why this entire Fraud Kuna situation exists. And after 3 days of research, I finally realized that the Fraud Kuna agenda has some truth to it. Deciding factors to why this claim exists all comes back to portrayal. Throughout the entire run of JJK, the main antagonist Roman Sukuna has been referenced in discussion with the following terms surrounding him: King, Calamity, the strongest. And then chapter 232 dropped. After witnessing Gojo deliver Sukuna a curse technique reversal, devious backshots, and following it up with a black flash, taking a page from Itadori's left right goodnight course, leaving Sukuna running in bed by 9 PM, I realized weeks worth of fending this fraudulent ass nigga was the equivalent of Adam 22 trying to fend his relationship, and I just... Sukuna? More like Fraud Kuna. Now we really know why you're called the disgraced one. But he was moving like Usopp the entire series. Fake it till you make it. The pinnacle of the Hein era. Nigga, you was fighting plumbers. Mr. Stat Pad and Merchant went from saying you're just a fish on the cutting board to come kill my uncle about it. I've never seen a nigga go through 500 hoops just to compete and still get clowned. I'm telling you, there's Sukuna and then there's Sukuna from Wish. Because how do we go from the masterclass streak of Shibuya Sukuna greatness to watching an underdog story unfold? From chapter 1 to Shibuya, this nigga had aura, and he was funny, he had charisma, and now he's scaring the hoes asking where's my hugging. To be fair though, Megumi and Sukuna really are perfect for each other. Two sorry ass niggas is a package deal. Now you might be thinking, local, you're overreacting. Do you understand how hard it is to defend this foolishness? Every week it gets more disrespectful than the last. It doesn't help that Sukuna has the worst PR team of all time. How the fuck did the agenda go from he doesn't need 10 shadows to you guys are just misunderstanding his character? Sukuna's supposed to be the underdog because get off your knees and wipe it up when it's done. Because the nigga that claimed the assignment was achievable is now using the equivalent of chat fucking GPT 4 hours before the deadline. And guess what? He's still failing. Sukuna's portrayal is ultimately fucked because no matter how this fight concludes, he wins off Mahoraga. Why did he seem confident to win with his own abilities? In chapter 3, fraud. He wins off the fire arrow. The use of 10 shadows allowed Sukuna to get in the position so he could bypass Limitless and use his original toolkit. Hence, without the 10 shadows, how does Sukuna place himself in a position to win off his own abilities? You froze! And the most likely scenario, Sukuna wins with the deciding factor being Yorozu's sex toy. When did we start graduating from the Ken Wakui school of writing? In a fight that was set up to be the strongest in history versus the strongest of today's era, how can you have the readers question the validity of one party's potentially winning? There are serious discussions being had that even if Sukuna wins, Gojo is still considered the strongest in the verse, and hardcore JJK stans will look you dead in the eyes and say, oh, here comes the illiterate readers that are blinded by agenda and headcanons. You don't see the vision that Geiji is cooking up. My brother in Christ, do you not see that the issue is the fact that these discussions shouldn't even exist in the fucking first place? Acting pretentious as hell just to end up like Sukuna after he called Gojo ordinary. What a parallel. I'm just so confused on where this shift in portrayal occurred. Especially when you consider that Geiji claims to hate Gojo, but now for whatever reason the bipolar disorder decided to kick in and Geiji has been glazing Gojo for 4 chapters. Now, all jokes aside, I believe we all understand there's like a 99.9% chance that Gojo loses his fight, so you could argue this fight is being used to give Gojo one last hurrah before he leaves the series, but at the sacrifice of Sukuna's PR, I'm not sure if it's worth it. Sukuna has always been a character I expected to use underhanded tactics. Honor is a foreign concept to him, remember how he finessed Hana, and the guy is utilizing 10 shadows in a way that is more intriguing to watch than the Zion of JJK. Combined with Sukuna's insane durability feats, there is a solid back and forth going on throughout the fight, but the energy Sukuna had in chapter 3 in comparison to right now is not consistent. And before you tell me Sukuna never implied that he was going to defeat Gojo while having full control of Yuji's body, you're either admitting that there was a retcon or blatantly coping to push a narrative. Sukuna only begins to be interested in Megumi during chapter 8, and literally in chapter 221 when Sukuna meets Gojo again, he literally admits, well, the plan changed slightly, but I'm still going to end your life. So then when you have the same character getting outmatched with their default skill set that they claim they would be able to win with, the execution is forever going to be shaky. You can't deny this. I understand though, this fight was always going to be hard to handle because no matter the outcome, both characters need to be shown in a respectable light to be consistent with their portrayal. And personally, I think Geje shot himself in the foot with having limits be a thing. Now, hopefully Geje proves me wrong, proves to me that I'm illiterate, but considering how most Culling Game fights have gone, I wouldn't be surprised if the most anticipated fight in the series, Gojo vs Sukuna, fails to surpass Yuji and Todo vs Mahito. A fight I will continue to preach is the peak of the series, because to be completely honest, Gojo vs Sukuna currently is nowhere near the level of the Mahito Shibuya fight. That's not me saying this fight is ass, but it being anything other than undisputed top 1 is an L. JJK has shown that they can balance the raw meathead element while also having a good overall narrative and soul-moving character development. And so far, this current fight is extremely lacking in everything minus raw attacks. It's pretty bare bones, but again, the fight isn't over yet, so maybe something changes and this video ages like milk. We'll see. What do you all think about Roman Sukuna so far? Fraud or GOAT? And has Gojo vs Sukuna met your expectations so far? And if you want anime content that keeps it real, consider subscribing so when I hit 10K you can brag about being a day one. Otherwise, peace. I'm out.